There could be severe repercussions from the impending political maelstrom. Keir Starmer will encounter a challenging discussion in the House of Commons because over 1 million people have already signed a petition calling for a new general election, despite the fact that the nation's citizens have cast ballots 5 times in the last 10 years. Hundreds of thousands of people are vehemently demanding new elections and accusing the Prime Minister of breaking his promises made in the tie-in program. The petition currently has millions of signatures, and this number is still rising quickly. In just 2 days since it was published, the number of signatures has risen to over 1.9 million, and it is still growing at an incredible rate. Neither the BBC nor other major UK news channels bothered to mention this crucial event. Are you now feeling the pressure? Because I think there's a petition that's have dropped 1.9 people who want the election. It's now just over 2 million. Do you feel the pressure? Look, I remind myself that very many people didn't vote Labour at the last election. I'm not surprised that many of them rerun. That isn't how our system works. There will be plenty of people who didn't want us in the first place. So look, what I focus on is the decisions that I have to make. More than 2 million people have signed a petition demanding new elections, and Jeremy Clarkson has come to the defense of this movement. Why is this so important? Because Clarkson is not just a celebrity who has an opinion. He is a powerful voice that resonates with millions, especially those who feel forgotten and ignored. His criticism of Keir Starmer is not just an accident, it is the cry of the soul of a man who is not afraid to tell the truth. Clarkson openly expressed his dissatisfaction with the Labour government, especially its indifference to rural issues, and as a fate he learned from his own experience how politics can destroy people's lives in rural areas. I honestly don't know where to begin because I know you've heard a lot about it today. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll just say that Rachel Reeves has explained what it is. 72% of farms will not be impacted by this. I recently had an interview with Victoria Darisha for Newsnight. Let's see if we can educate her here. If she's still in the area, how many people here, if you raise your hands, are from family farms? I want to see that. I hope we can see that. I hope we have our cameras up high so we can see that his words are very important, especially when they represent the sentiments of millions of disgruntled citizens. Clarkson's stance is more than just a media headline. It is a reflection of the resentment that is building within British politics. One of the primary causes of this unhappiness was the Labour government's implementation of an inheritance tax on agricultural land valued at more than £1 million. While this may appear to be a fair method of taxing wealth, the situation is far more complex for many family farms, and such a policy turns out to be a true catastrophe. I'm happy to be the first Labour leader in 30 years to be here in Barrow to make a very strong commitment to the work that they're doing, the triple lock, which is to support the dreaded submarines that we saw this morning. Imagine working on land that has been in your family for generations and then suddenly being threatened with losing it due to a tax that you simply cannot pay. I was actually in the Dreadden this morning to witness it, as it's being made, to make that commitment to the deterrent to the continuous at sea and to the upgrades which to the workforce here is very important because they know that this is a generational commitment. Are you tired of lying? Do you find it infuriating to see how our pensioners are treated? Is it enough for you that we were told that electricity bills would go down, but in reality, they are only going up? Inflation, which was supposed to decrease, is rising again, as if we are all in some sort of nightmare. The economy, which was regarded as one of the best in the world prior to the election, is now one of the worst, and we are almost on the verge of recession. This is a true catastrophe that has landed on our heads as the current Labour government has totally crumbled. Their policies have severely hit rural communities and called into question the leadership of farmers who work on the land feel threatened as if they are being pushed out of society. They shout that the tax does not take into account the unique problems of farming because the value of land does not always reflect the real cash flow, and that's where things get even more absurd. While British farmers are being asked to tighten their belts to the limit, the Starmer government is reportedly providing subsidies to European farmers. For many it looks like a betrayal, like a stab in the back. Why should British farmers, who are the foundation of our country's food security, be treated as second-class citizens? Last night a petition was launched calling for a general election on the basis that Labour have broken promises and done things they never ever said they do. Its kind of trust is breaking down, but unbelievably, It's already on 3/4 of a million signatures. Even Elon Musk has been talking about it. I've never seen a petition go this quickly. Let me ask you, do you think there should be a general election because of what Labour have done? His words are full of irony and he's not shy about expressing his position. Clarkson furiously accused of disregarding the protests of British farmers in dire need of assistance. The villagers are closely monitoring the situation and publicly voicing their displeasure. Clarkson's criticism has only intensified the worries, making the inheritance tax controversy a national issue that makes many people feel ignored, which in turn fuels resentment and discontent that only grows. Calls for Jeremy Clarkson to get more active in politics have been met with resistance. Speaking to The Times, the former Top Gear host assisted in planning Tuesday's large-scale agricultural demonstration in London, which demanded that the government reconsider its adjustments to the inheritance tax. However, Clarkson now claims that he would make a poor political leader. If you choose to turn to Clarkson, he will not hold back in stating that they believe Kay's leadership is a complete failure and that it's about much more than a few poor choices. I'm a journalist at heart, and I would rather hurl rocks at people than have them thrown at me. Clarkson's criticism reveals a startling picture of a leader who is utterly ignorant of the terrible issues that Britain is facing. Farmers, rural communities, and even urban residents are starting to seriously doubt whether SATA understands the true struggles they are going through. One of the most vocal complaints is that he lacks a clear vision for the future. His policies, including changes to inheritance tax, have been harshly criticized as being unfair and short-sighted. Critics indignantly claim that he is more busy preserving his image than addressing the underlying issues that plague the nation. This